Welcome, everybody, to our session in the 2026 Roadmap webinar series, Physical Holdings Retention in Alma. It is March 11th, 2026, and we are fortunate to be joined today by Tamara Rosental Fux. Thank you, Tamara, for taking time out of your very busy schedule to join us on this extremely important development. This development is actually a continuation of two previous developments, which we're going to talk about. But before that, as we normally do, though we're going to do it very quickly today, a few minor, let's call them administrative matters. This is part of our 2026 Roadmap webinar series. If I just put in here 2026 Roadmap and Ex Libris, here we go, Webinar Ex Libris. We'll find it on the first shot. Let me make my browser a little larger. And so where are we today? We're on March 11th, which is already, I believe this is our sixth session, maybe? We'll find out in a moment. So recent developments regarding the physical holdings retention in Alma. This page here, the 2026 Roadmap webinar series, I'm not even going to send out the link right now. You saw how easy it is to find it. Includes the accompanying material, for example, some presentations about whatever we're showing, as well as you know, the registration information, and after the session, also a link to the recording, as you can see in the last column. So if we look at the big picture of where we are, this Roadmap webinar series highlights some of the major developments, definitely not all of them, definitely not all of the major developments either. Due to time constraints, we're not showing every single development that's been done. We do have the release notes in any case. So we began in January with the relative date index. That's the index that we can say last 7 days, last month, last year, and we made a new resources list, if you recall. Then we talked about, we had Erez as a guest, and we talked about the customized repository search bibliographic indexes, where you can take any non-local field and create an index. Then we talked about the AI-based tools in Primo VNDE, the Primo Research Assistant, and the Natural Language Search, also known as the Ask Anything. Then last week, the linked open data editor for BibFrame. That was a big one. A lot of comments on that one, a lot of subsequent emails on that. We're going to be following up on that one with another one in May. And if anyone's going to be attending the Knowledge Days for either eLuna or Igloo, we're going to have a double session. First session will be an overview of the linked open data editor for BibFrame, and then there's going to be a hands-on session. And then here we are today. So now we see where we are in the large picture, recent developments regarding physical holdings retention, and we've got some more planned here. So you're welcome to come and take a look at what we've got coming up as well. Then we've also got the Ex Libris YouTube channel. So there you can go in and just look for Ex Libris Limited or many other ways. And within the Ex Libris YouTube channel, we have, for example, playlists. And for example, here's the playlist for the 2026 Roadmap webinar series. So you can see here all of the previous ones we've done, the date index, or repository search indexes, et cetera, et cetera. So you've got everything here. Okay, one last thing. If we were to search for Ex Libris education webinars, or you can put in training, all kinds of other things, you see I don't even have to spell it properly, and first shot. So here also you can register for upcoming sessions, and you can view on demand previous sessions. For example, here's last week's session, the linked open data editor for BibFrame. You've got a link here to watch it, to see the recording, and here's today's where you can register. And there's all kinds of facets and other things. So without further ado, let's now jump in. What we're going to do today, our schedule, is before I get into the physical holdings retention in Alma, I want to talk about the bibliographic record retention in Alma and the physical item retention in Alma, because those are really the beginning of this development. This development is not something we want to look at in a vacuum. It's part of a much larger picture in Alma and a much larger picture in the library world. Call it the library world and what's going on in libraries today. We'll see why this retention is important. Tamara will be monitoring the chat, and at the end, we've allocated 10 to 15 minutes to Tamara to talk about any development issues which might come up during the session or which we want to share. So, before we talk about a physical holdings retention in Alma, as you know, I'm just going to briefly state we've got a bibliographic record. The bibliographic record, if it has physical inventory, has to have a holdings record, and then typically, but not always, there may also be items. So before we came into this physical holdings retention, we started with the bibliographic record retention, then we went to the physical item retention, then there was a request, a very legitimate and what would be the word, a justified request that also the holdings records would have a retention policy. So let's begin very briefly. I want to go through the bibliographic record and the physical item, but very briefly. We're not going to show how the whole thing works. I've already got it set up. I'm just going to show that it exists and where it exists. So the bibliographic record retention, let's even take an example. I'm going to come and do a search on anything here, just so that when I say bibliographic record, I'm assuming everybody knows what I mean by bibliographic record, but I don't want to assume. So if somebody comes along here and let me say physical titles, just so I got something. I think we used something blue eyes last time. So I've got a bibliographic record. My bibliographic record in this case, let's say Beautiful Blue Eyes, written and illustrated by Marion Richmond. That's a bibliographic record, title, author, etc., etc. Then there is a holdings record, which has an 852 field with a library and a location. And then there are items, and there has to be a holdings record if there are items. So these items here are connected to that holdings record. So we're going to start on the highest level, which is the bibliographic record. And the bibliographic record has an option that we can make it not able to be deleted or to be retained. A nice, the straight out way to say it is can't be deleted. Have a retention policy is the fancy way to say it. So let's go take a look at that. And again, I'm not going to set it all up. I've already got it set up. We just want to look at it. So if I come to configuration and to resources, we have retention policy. Here we have collection retention, bibliographic collection retention definition. Now notice, by the way, just a little tidbit of information. Here, when I made this one, whenever I made it, it only had 2 menu options. Now we have 4 menu options because Alma is constantly growing, as you know. So let's come in here. I'll make that a little larger. So let's come in here to bibliographic collection retention. So we can define, it's the same for the holdings record, we'll see, we can define that if a field exists, regardless of the value, then the bibliographic record cannot be deleted or has to be retained. Or I can say, if it has a certain field with a certain value, then it cannot be deleted. So here I have defined that if there is a 613 field, with a subfield A, the record can't be deleted, or if there is a 583 field with a subfield A that says committed to retain, we also can't delete. Let's take a little picture of this because we want to do something with it now. So I'm just going to paste this. That way I don't have to constantly go back and forth between the Alma table and what I'm really doing. And let's make that larger, of course. So if I were to take that bibliographic record, and I think it was called Pretty Blue Eyes. Let's just go Blue Eyes. We could take any bibliographic record. It doesn't have to be the Pretty Blue Eyes. We can take the American Singer even. Beautiful Blue Eyes. We have Beautiful Blue Eyes and Pretty Blue Eyes. I think they were both actually Beautiful Blue Eyes. In any case, let's put this in the metadata editor. So we're saying here, if there is a 613 with anything, or if there is a 583 subfield A with the text committed to retain, then it needs to be retained. Let's see. So right now, I do not have a 613, and I do not have, what was the other one? A 583 with committed to retain. And if I were to come here and say record actions, delete record, I'm not blocked and I can say yes. I'm not going to delete it, but I could delete it. You can also see here there's no special icons to the left of beautiful blue eyes here or to the bottom of beautiful blue eyes here. Now if I come along and I say add field, and I add a 613 with any text, another beautiful day in the library. And I save this record. So you can see I have an icon here now that has a picture of a trash can with a line through it, meaning cannot be deleted. In other words, it can't go to the trash. Here also. And if I were to try to delete, I can't. I have this message on the bottom. Cannot be deleted. An indication is committed to retain in field 613/A. Beautiful. I get rid of that 613, or let's even put in the other field. The other field was a 583 with text committed to retain. So I'm going to make a 583, and instead of committed to retain, I'm going to call this one, and now another beautiful day in the library. I save this, and it's no longer committed to retain. I no longer have the icon, and if I try to delete, no problem. But I'm going to change this text now in the 583 to committed to retain. And let me just make sure I spelled that properly. I have two M's and two T's in the word committed. And that's correct. Okay, so now it should, after I save, be committed to retain. And here's my trash can icon here, my trash can icon here, and if I try to delete, I can't. Okay, so now we've established that we already have a mechanism for retaining bibliographic records. And we said our whole point of doing that is because we want to show that this isn't something in a vacuum. It's step by step, going hierarchically in the hierarchy to a more detailed and detailed level. I'm going to remove that field, remove field, and save. Now we have it also on the items. So let's go take a look at what's happening on the items. And on purpose, I'm going to go to a journal now, a serial. I'm going to go to a serial because we're going to see later one of the classic use cases about this is the ability to keep a holdings record when there are no physical items attached. So let's do a purchase order line search because I'm going to do a purchase order line search simply because I want to do a purchase order line of type continuous because those include holdings records. So we'll say order lines, and I will say continuous purchase order line type equals continuous physical or continuous, subscription I wanted to say, which means continuous. So I want a print journal subscription, or I want PO line type equals print title subscription. And here we are, physical subscription. And I'll change my Boolean to or. Boom. Okay. So if I take now, and we're going to use this record when we get to the part about the holdings record as well, which is why I'm choosing this one now. Let's see if we got one here with an icon. Hegel Lectures. Okay, that's a nice one. And Okay, let's take that Hegel lectures on philosophy, etc., etc. Okay. And let's take that holdings record on this one. So it's got a holdings record here. And let's go view the holdings, or let's even edit the holdings. Okay, now I'm going to say Control I, view inventory, and holdings. Let's add one. Add inventory, or add item even. I'm already in the holdings record. Add item. And I'll just say anything I want here, 01, 1948. And we'll say generate on my description. Beautiful. Volume 1, 1948. All right, save. Now, this item can also be committed to retain. Let's release everything here. Okay, she's all released. And let's say now we want to take that item, physical items, Hegel. Ooh. And it's in acquisitions here. Let's come now and see what do we have for the physical item. So we saw about the bib record. Now we're going to do for the physical item. So back to the configuration, back to the resources, back to the collection retention, and now item retentions. So within the item retention, within the item, there's a checkbox that says retain or don't retain in nicer words. And then you can also give it a reason. And here I've got my various reasons. Let's even add another reason. Let's leave it as it is because we want to make sure we have time for the holdings. So let's take one of these. Let's add one. What the heck? Add. Let's say this is going to be Taipei Chen. This is going to be the Taipei project with Professor Alicia Hen. So there's some kind of a project going on, and any physical item which is part of that project cannot be deleted. We'll say add row. It's in there. Save. Now, someone comes along to one of those items. It can be any item. We'll take back to these Hegels. Shall even go in just to be sure we're getting the same exact one. I'll come in here. We'll go back to the order lines. And again, we will get the type is going to be either print subscription or physical subscription. This will also be the PO line type, and this will be physical subscription. Print journal subscription, we got physical subscription, and that's an or. And here's our Hegel, Lectures on Philosophy of World History, and the items. I'll just get it from here. Okay, if right now I want to delete this, I can say withdraw, and I don't get any problems. I'm going to cancel, but I can delete it. Now I'm going to edit this item, and I'm going to say here, committed to retain, yes, and that's all I'm going to do. Only committed to retain, save. Now if I try to delete it, I can't. This item is marked as committed to retain and cannot be deleted. And I could also go one step further and give it a reason here. For example, the Taipei project with Professor Alicia Hen, and this should never be deleted. I can put in a retention reason, and then you can do all kinds of other reporting, etc., on the retention reasons. So that's, let me undo that and undo this. So that's what we have. That's all the lead in, that we don't want to look at the holdings record in a vacuum. Now, there are situations, let's see, I'm going to stop sharing for 1 minute because I want to see myself. So I don't know if you can see because I got that funny background going here. Let me, let me stop my background here because I want to show something on the screen and you can't see it when I have a background. Okay, so I have, for example, all of these. This is Library Journal. I subscribe to Library Journal. And let's say I don't actually loan these. I use these for some other method. I leave them on the shelf. Because no one can loan them, I can put my background back on now. Here we go. That looks like a nice one. So because we never loan them, we don't have actual physical items. We just have a holdings record, which perhaps has an 866 summary holdings field that says volume 1 to volume 7, blah, 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 blah. Therefore, it's not enough for us to be able to say the item is committed to retain. We also have to say that the holdings record is committed to retain. That's one thing. There's another very important part, that the holdings record often contains very important information about the provenance, which means where it comes from, etc. The acquisitions information on it. So we don't want to delete the holdings record. Let me share again, and then we will continue. Let's see if there's any questions, actually, while I'm here. I'm going to go into the chat and just take a look. And no questions in the chat. Someone give me a sign that you're still with me. I'm going to stop here. Someone just write in the chat, yes, we hear you, or raise your hand or do something. Okay, people are letting me know they hear me. Great. Okay, so I will share again. So now we're going to do what we did, but on the level of the holdings record. And now we can go to the PowerPoint. Now we'll spend a little more time on the PowerPoint, but not too much. So we're going to see two different options for retaining the physical holdings and two different ways of testing the physical holdings. So let's go in. So until now, we went to configuration resources, and we chose the bibliographic collection and the item retention. Now we're doing the holdings record retention definition. So here too, we can say we need a certain field, or we need a certain field with a certain value. Let's put in another one here. And let's say I can have the 361 with the Taipei project. I'm going to try something here, actually. I'm going to go out on a limb, as they say. I'm going to add another row because someone's going to ask, can I put the same field twice with two different types of text? And Tamara, if there's anything you want to add here, go ahead, because now I'm pushing the limits of the system. So it's not only going to be the Taipei project, it's going to be the AHEN program for record retention. Okay, so it can be this. My 361A can have either that or that, and then it would need to be retained, or I can just have a 613 with nothing. Save. Okay, let's give it a try. So let's come to material type. Where am I? Physical items. I want to be physical titles. And let's say I want, actually, I think we've got a nice example here of Okay, let's continue this way. I think we've got one called the Krakowska Biblioteca, but let's see. And we'll say we want material type equals journal. Yofi. Okay, so let's take the Biblioteca Krakowska. And let's say we want to see the holdings record. So here's my holdings record. It's in the open stacks. You can see it's already committed to retain, but we're going to start playing around with that. And let's edit the holdings. So I'm going to get rid of that 613 field. So we're starting fresh. Remove field. Save. Okay, so we don't have any kind of icons here. And, oh, I should have taken a picture before. Let's take a picture. Resources, holdings retention, and we'll take this with us. And we no longer need that one. So now if I have a 361 with one of these texts, it should get committed to retain. And also, let's say I want to get another one in there. Let's go to my MARC holdings records. Oh, we didn't want that one. Sorry about that. We want that one. Okay. And here. And here. So let's say I have a 361 now with a subfield A like this. A real live example. Sorry. Here we are. Back to the metadata editor. So now I'm going to add a 361. Add field. 361. Up. Okay. Wonderful. Now if I save this, I do not have a icon here that it can't be deleted. And if I try to delete, no problem. Oh, it has resources. Okay, let's get rid of those items then. Because it can't be deleted, but that's because it has items. But let's get rid of the item here. So we wanted here, I'm going to say view inventory. View items, withdraw. Don't do anything. Okay. All right, so now let's try to delete. I should be able to delete because even though I have a 361, it doesn't have the text that we stated that needs in the 361. So we say record actions delete, no problem. I'm going to cancel, but I can delete it. However, if I add a 361, let's say add field 361 with the AHEN program for record detention and I save, now you see I have this icon here. I can't delete it. And I will say record actions delete record cannot be deleted. It is marked as committed to retain. So we have seen that there is an option to be able to automatically make it with a certain text that it can't be deleted. It wasn't enough that I had the 361. I had to have the 361 with that very specific information. And I can do that on any of these fields. Let's do one more example. If I were to have some binding information, there's nice binding information, I believe, with leather. Nope, not here. But I'm going to put in some binding information with some leather. So if I were to have here, let's put in a 563. Add field. 563. Okay. Instead of saying it's gold tooth Morocco binding, this is going to be $A. This will be leather calf binding with engraved volume numbers. Okay. And then I could say if there's a 563 with a certain value like we did with the 361, it won't get deleted, or it will always get deleted regardless of what's in there. And that's what we have for the 613. So now if I put in the 613 with anything, doesn't matter what, we'll say add field 613, apples and oranges, save. You can already see here, as soon as I put in that 613, it can't be deleted. We have the trash can icon. We come along and we say delete, and it tells us it's committed to retain. Now, a few things. We saw that if I try to delete it, I can't because it had items. And then when I got rid of the items, we saw that I couldn't delete it if it had a field with a certain predefined text. And we saw that I couldn't delete it if it has a field with any text. I'm going to remove this 613 and get rid of it. So we'll say remove field. And now I'm going to say anytime I have a 563 field, which is binding information, I don't want it to get deleted. Let me save this. Now you see I can delete it. Wait, 560. Oh, because I got the 361, I can't delete it. Let me get rid of that 361. Or better yet, I'll make this a 362. Okay, now I can delete it because I don't have a 361 with that specific text. I have this 563, but I'm going to come along now. Again, just to show I can delete. I'm going to cancel, but I can. I'm going to come into my table. Let's take this title with us and release it. I'm going to come into my table because now I can do things retroactively. You might already have all your holdings records with certain fields. I assume you do actually. So now if we come into configuration, resources, holdings record retention, I can say, what was it, a 563? If I have a 563 with a subfield A, then I can't delete it. Save. So instead of a 613, we said now, if it has a 563 with anything, I'm doing it now that I already have the data, and then I make the table. My examples until now have been I make the table and then I make my data. So let's see what we got here now. This is going to go by, and now I've got it like this. So now if we take that same record, Biblioteca Krauska, we take the holdings record and we edit the holdings. I have a 563, and you can see I cannot delete it. Previously I could, now I can't. If I try, I get it's committed to retain, and I see it here. Before I go to the next step, I want to see if there's any questions or comments. It's a pretty quiet crowd this morning. I'm looking in the chat. Let's see if I got anything here. Nope, I don't see anything in the chat. Okay, everyone's still with me. Let's get one more sound check going. Okay, at least one person hears me. Another one hears me. Okay, great. Thank you for letting me know. Now, Let's say I want to come along and update certain holdings records retroactively so that they can't be deleted. I can do that with a normalization process. Let's say, for example, I go to configuration. We're going to do the whole process. It's 8:37. That means we have enough time to do something pretty serious here. So what we're going to do now, let me make sure it's clear to everybody. We're going to take a set of holdings records and globally update them so that they won't be able to get deleted. So for example, maybe I want to add, let's go to configuration, resources, holdings record detention. Maybe I want to add a 361 field with a subfield A that says the Taipei project, or better yet, a 361 with a subfield A that says this, the AHEN program for record retention. Let's even call it the Alicia Hen. Okay, the Alicia Hen program for record retention. Save. So when I make a normalization rule in a normalization process, I usually use Claude, but you can do it however you'd like. So I'm going to say, hi, Claude, good morning. Okay, so now let's say, please make me an XSL style sheet which will add to a MARC 21 record a data field 361 with subfield A with text that. Okay. Okay. All right. Subfield A with text. Okay, so he says, how can I help you today? Okay. Here is how you can help me. All right, please make me an XSL style sheet, add a MARC 21 record, add to the MARC 21 record a data field 361 with subfield A with text blah, 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 blah. Okay, great. Meanwhile, while he's working, let's go to my metadata editor because we're going to make the normalization rule. So we'll say show metadata editor and rules, normalization, new, oops, let's go get one of these. New normalization. Okay, so let's call this, I just start mine that way, so they all sort nice, but you don't need to do that. Add 361 A with text that. And I'm going to make mine XSL, save. Okay. I'm not saying too much of the details here because it's not a session on normalization rules. It's a session on the holdings retention, and I'm showing how you can make the holdings retention on a set of records by globally updating them. So I downloaded that. Let's go to my downloads. I hope I don't have anything incriminating here. Let's say edit with Notepad++. Okay, so here's my normalization rule. I trust Claude that it'll work on the first shot, but I'm going to try it anyway. So there it is, save. I'm not even going to read it. I trust him so much, I'm not even going to make sure he did what I said. So let's go get my record and test it. So we'll come to records. Here's my holdings record. And let's say now I want to split editor mode, and in my right side, I will say rules, normalization, and it was something with the 361. Here it is. So this is the one we just made right now. Let's make sure of that. don't think that's the one. Oh, here's ours. I put it in the private by accident. Fine. Here it is. Okay. So it says for each record. Okay. Here we go. The Alicia Hen program for record retention preview. Interesting. The Alicia Hen program for record retention 361 preview. Okay, back to normalization rules. I'm going to do something interesting here. I'm going to take this one. I know we're getting a little advanced, but that's okay. We're an advanced group. I'm going to do two things for Claude. I'm going to say, Claude, that did not add the field. But often he wants to see the record. So while he's even working there, we're going to go get the record. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to create a set called that. I'm going to say admin run a job export. And export the record. And let's see what he says. Okay. Flying it inside Alma. He knows me. No namespace. That's the issue. Sometimes they say Mark 21 or they say bib frame or whatever. Okay. Here's the corrected version. In fact, I'm going to tell him in the future, write it for a non-namespace marked XML. Okay, so now he made us a new one. I'm going to download. And here it is, number 2, edit with Notepad++. Okay. And let's simply replace it. So now I'm going to put in the new version. It's even shorter. Save, preview, and there it is. It added it. So now I have a working normalization rule. I'm going to make this now a normalization process. So into configuration, we'll say resources, metadata configuration, holdings, normalization processes. We'll add a new process. We had a session on the MARC XSL normalization rules. I'll call it the same as my rule there. And next, add a task, which is going to be the MARC XSL normalization. Next, I will choose the one we just made. Something interesting here. We never look at something as a mistake. We look at it as a learning experience. I saved this by accident, if I come to properties, as a private one. I'm going to make it shared. That's why I didn't see it there. Okay. We all learned something. Back to the configuration. Resources. Metadata configuration holding. Normalization process add. Same thing. The name, the description, the task. And now I will see. There it is. Okay, now I can run that process on a set of holdings records. Let's get a set of holdings records to run it on. I'll search for physical holdings with the word blue. That's a lot. Let's get a little less. How many do I have with blue eyes? Let's take we'll say physical holdings, blue eyes, and creation day after January 2025. I just want a smaller record. That's a smaller group of records. 3, perfect. Save the set. ABC. D, I already have ABC. Okay. Save. I'm not make it private. Now I'm going to run a global update on these, and we're going to add that 361 field. You can see here, I don't have a 361 with Alicia Hen project, etc. And so now we'll run a job. Admin, run a job. Again, our goal now is we saw that if you add a certain field with a certain text, the record can't be retained. Now I want to take a whole set of records and globally update them so all of those records can't be deleted. So I'll do type information update, I believe it is. And then we have update holdings information. There we go. Next. Then here's my set, ABCD. Then we'll say correct the data using a normalization process, and here's my normalization process. Next, submit. So now we're globally updating records with a field that has text that we decide what we determined is a collection retention reason. So that's running. And if we go look at the set now, they should all be updated. So let's say manage sets. Let's even say catalog set. Or let's say content. Okay. So first of all, I just push them to the metadata editor. You can see they all have the trash can icon because they can't be deleted. You can see this one's got the 361, next. This one's got the new 361, next. And this one's got the new 361. And if we go to the metadata editor for those holdings records, holdings, didn't I push those here? Oh. Let's hide the metadata editor. Admin manage sets. I must have clicked the wrong thing somewhere. Content. And we will select them all, push to the metadata editor. 3 records have been successfully pushed to the metadata editor. We come to the metadata editor. There they are. Okay. So here, if we try to delete this, we can't because it's being retained. And I'm just going to remove these so we keep everything clean. Are there any questions or comments? Let's take a look in the chat. Tamara, is there anything that you came in on your end?
I don't see any questions, but
No. Okay. So I have completed what I want to do. I will stop sharing. Tamar, you can take it away if there's anything you want to discuss about the development stage or see if there's any questions here.
Yeah, I first I wanted to thank you all for the great presentation, and I
Thank
think
you
we
for
really
letting
saw
me
you.
do it. I had a good time.
I think we really saw you some basics steps, but also advanced. So it was very good. I want to emphasize 2 things. First one is that, we have here the hierarchy, right? We have bib, we have holdings, and we have items. When you set retention on a specific level, it doesn't affect the level below. For example, if you now define specific holding record as committed to retain, as one that cannot be deleted. It doesn't mean that the items below are committed to retain, okay? It is only on the level of the holding. So if you want the items to be committed to retain, you need to do that on the level of the items. This is first thing that I wanted to emphasize. And the second thing, we saw various examples of adding the relevant field for holding records to make them commit to retain. And because they are being saved, it means that right on time, they are considered as committed to retain. Now, what if you have a set of holding records that already have a specific, let's say, local fields that indicates that they are ones that needed to be retained? Now that you have the mechanism, you can add this field to the configuration table, but it will not take effect on existing holding records that are not being saved unless we do indexing. So if you want to apply a retention with a field that already exists on the holding records, you need to ask support to do indexing on your holding records. Any questions about this?
Quiet crowd this morning. Everyone's still with us? It's early for us, but it's middle of the afternoon for most of you in the Asia Pacific area. We're we're full of energy, and people who are in their afternoon and slept are are out of energy. No questions for everyone still with us? Do one more quick sound check. Make sure you're still with us. Anybody? Robin, Wumi, Nufar, etc. Okay, people are telling us they're with us. They're still with us. It must have been so clear, Tamar, that there's simply no questions. That's all.
Okay, great.
Okay, so we will be posting the recording, and we'll also be scheduling the rest of those 2026 Roadmap webinar series, which you saw at the beginning. So thanks for joining, and we hope to see you soon. Have a nice day, and bye-bye.